This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Yasir Gulfraz and we will discuss our learning outcome 4. So anybody can hear me clearly
Yes, sir.
and can you see my slides and screen, everything clearly?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, okay, that's good then. So we will discuss learning outcomes for today. Previously we discussed learning outcomes 3 and the quick shots regarding previous lecture. We discussed critical path analysis and PERT diagram in our previous lecture. Then we discussed Gantt charts, if you remember then, and then
Yes.
we discussed a risk assessment. Project risk is the potential for an unfavorable occurrence to occur as well as its effect on repercussion if it did. Then we discussed quality and what is quality. We discussed quality management system, and then we discussed total quality management. Okay, so that's it. So in
Yes.
today's lecture, we will discuss about uh, you know again continuously our lecture, and purpose of here we will discuss about collection of analysis of feedback, self-assessment, stakeholder about the project, okay, and negotiation and project and so on. So let's start with here analysis feedback gathered from stakeholders about the project. So the stakeholder plan enables you to combine stakeholders analysis with the specific controls you will use with each to achieve your project objectives. This is often looked at in terms of communication strategy, as stakeholder management is essentially seen as a process of engagement. Here's an example of a plan from Turner set out as stakeholder register note in particular the different communication methods for securing and maintaining stakeholder support. So this plan could be refined by using a Gantt chart or indicate in more detail which part of the project process you need to be dealing with the which stakeholders with a link again to using which controls at different phases of the project. So this is because stakeholders will have different levels of input at different stages. For example, if you look again at the register below, it states that same people should not be informed at the start. So here can you see as well stakeholder objectives, that for, against, high, informed. So the plan could be involved by using a Gantt chart to show in greater depth which people you need to interact with at all with which stages of the project process. So with the connection once more to using which control at various stages of the project. This is due to the fact that partners feedback will vary depending on stage to stage or all stages. As an illustration, here they says that some individuals shouldn't be told right away. Next one is negotiation and project agreement. uh, he discussed about negotiation and project management. Basically he's talking about dealing with stakeholders, some of whom may be for and some against, is not just a matter of communication. So basically, communication is only one aspect of dealing with the partners, some of whom may be for and some against. You might need to, haggle to secure a final arrangement for the execution of your project. Uh, in order to get final agreement for the implementation of your project, you may have to negotiation. Your business proposal of specification may not be acceptable to your steering committee or key board members. A regulatory body may not like certain aspects of it, or it may be in conflict with other functions in the organization. So you will have to amend parts of it to again gain the appropriate support by, for example, reducing scope, cutting cost, reducing time to include other stakeholder. You need to prepare for any negotiations so that you have a clear idea before you start about what you are and are not willing to change or compromise on, and the importance of a win-win strategy rather than a win-loss one. So your business plan or design might not be approved by your executives committee or important board members. Governing body might not agree with some of its provisions, or it might clash with other organizational functions. So as a result, you will need to make some changes to uh, in order to get the necessary support, such as decreasing the scope, lowering the budget, shortening the timelines, or involving other parties. That's why he is talking about. So you must plan for any talks so that you are aware of what you are and what you are not ready to alter or settle on, as well as the significance of a win strategy as opposed to a lose one before you begin. So any questions so far, Sumit, or anyone? Clear? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you see my screen
Yes, sir.
and voice clear everything?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So next is power interest matrix. So basically, sorry. A power interest matrix classifies shareholder based on their influence and how much they are likely to be interested in the organization's activities. So may be used to describe the type of interaction that should be had with each group. The matrix is divided into four, quadrants, each representing different stakeholder type. So here, if you see that power matrix, Gardner, uh, etc. Others are low, high, minimal effort, minimal, keep informed, then satisfied, D, key players, low and high. Power interest matrix. So a stakeholder in group A need only minimum effort and monitoring. Here, if you see that stakeholders, they need only minimum efforts, and stakeholders in Group B should be kept informed, as they may be able to influence more powerful stakeholders. Then stakeholders in Group C are powerful but level of interest is low, generally expected to be passive, but may move into Group D on an issue of particular interest. Stakeholders in Group D are both powerful and interested. Their cooperation is to key importance of new strategies. So he is talking about all groups A, B, C, D. When he talks about A, low power, low interest, uh, then he's talking about Group B. Is that mean low power, high interest? So if you go to Group C, high power, low interest. So stakeholders in Group D, high power and high interest. So sorry. Power, legitimacy, and urgency model maps stakeholder behavior according to its balance of three characteristics, which are power, legitimacy, and urgency. So, first one, power of the stakeholder for influence the organization. Second, relationship in term of desirability or appropriateness. Then expectations of the stakeholder in terms of critically and time sensitivity. So first one is the stakeholder, that power, basically stakeholders' ability to influence the project or organization. Power can come from a variety of sources such as financial resources, expertise, or positions. Next one, legitimacy, the stakeholder, right to be involved in decision making. This can come from formal authority, social norms, we perceived expertise. So urgency, stakeholder need for a timely response. Urgency can come from deadline, emergencies, or other time sensitive factors. So you got it. Sumit, any questions so far?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Next, project control system like this certain key features. So it is, the project control system like this has certain key features which are, it is holistic. You should monitor and control all phases of your project, even the initial planning and specification stage. Then actual, it's going, you should be doing it regularly and often. Next, knowledge based, you need to collect data, make sense of it, and take actions based on your conclusions. It is a communication system. Data comes in, results and information goes out to stakeholder reports. It's a feedback and feed forward system. You can process which report deviation, which then trigger actions such as quality control process. But you can also have process which attempt to anticipate any variances such as regular term meeting or a status report feed forward. It's an organizational system. Different people have different responsibilities for different parts of the system. So next is evaluate performance of the project against the objectives and quality requirements. So it is holistic. You should monitor and control all phases of your project, even the initial planning and specification stages. It's going, is repeating, that same as above. But the thing
Yes.
is, project management areas which should the limit for your project. Preview be then. What topics must be covered? Generally, you must address the following, or which we just discussed above. Are the project key results truly providing what was promised? Then work, it is being done in accordance with high standard. Here he's talking about. Then that cost, uh, one, they under control, cost is under control. Then uh, time, is the project finishing on time or on schedule? Okay. Then are the number of the squad acting in accordance with expectations? Do participants play their uh, part? So risk, his has it decreased, grown recently, perhaps is as a result of unanticipated events. Then measures and method of control. So basically, measures and method of controls. How do you calculate the difference between what ought to be occurring and what is happening then? So the truth is that you ought to already be familiar with the different management mechanism, since you ought to have created them as part of your preparation. The method and resources you use to help you create your forecast and estimate can now serve as the foundation of for tracking and managing those goals and estimates. Some illustrations of techniques and metrics are shown in the the table, like key deliverables, then measures of control, and then method of control, then measures of control and methods of control, cost for forecast at completion, and cost plan budget, cash flow chart, earn value, time, milestones, completed on time, activities completed on time, milestone tracker, schedule, Gantt chart, then people are team objective, individual objectives, stakeholder communications tasks completed on time, increase the level of influence and interest. Then methods of control, job description, stakeholders map, stakeholder register, stakeholder Gantt chart, stakeholder agreement. Next one is risk, increase the level of risk, contingency outcomes, risk register, risk log, risk assessment, risk teacher. If you tracker, if you remember, we discussed this risk in learning outcomes 2 and 3 as well.
Yes, sir.
So, any questions so far, Sumit or anyone?
No, sir.
Can you see my screen clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good one. So, financial indicators of project success. The previous example used the payback method for estimating project financial success, but there are others such as net present value, the difference between the present value of cash inflows and the present value of cash outflows, internal rate of return, the discount rate generate a zero net present value for a series of future cash flows. Profitability index calculated as present value of future cash flows. Initial investment, it should not be less than 1. So you might like to study the example in the resources which uses net present value, IRR, internal rate of return, and payback indications. So here, if you see that, cost new computer equipment, 10 network ready PCs with supporting software, £2,450 each, one servers 3,500, then three printers 1,200 each, cabling and installation, £4,600, sales support software, training cost. So this is training cost, four people costs about £3,200, 400 each, then eight people, four each, keyboard skills, sales support system, 12 people, 700 each, other cost. So total cost is £114,000. Benefits are tripling of mall short capacity, estimate 40,000 per year. So ability to sustain telesales campaigns, estimate 20,000 per year. Improved efficiency and reliability of follow-up, estimate 50,000 a year. Customer service and retention, 30,000 per year. Improved accuracy of customer information, 10,000 estimated per year. And total benefits, 130 or 80,000 per year. So 0.63% of a year, approximately 8 months. Okay, so this is how they spend on training and other costs in their project, and these are benefits, of 180,000 per year.
Yeah.
Contingency plan. Any idea about contingency plan, Sumit, or anyone? Any idea? Can you hear me, Sumit?
Yes, sir.
Any idea about contingency plan or okay, now.
No, sir.
Contingency plan is a plan, and like any plan, it requires a great deal of research and brainstorming. And like any good plan, there are steps to take to make sure you are doing it right. So identify and prioritize resources, research your company and list its crucial resources such as team, tools, facilities, etc. Then prioritize, then list from most important to least important. Then what are the key risk, figure out what you are, vulnerable by meeting with teams, executives, and every other department in the organization to get a full picture of what events could compromise your resources. Hire an outside consultant if necessary. Draft a contingency process. If you can write a contingency plan for each risk that you identify in the above steps, but starts with the starts with what most critical to the life of your organization. As time present, you can create a plan for everything on your list. Whatever the plan, the thought behind each should be the step necessary to resume normal operation of the company, thinking about communication, people, responsibilities, timelines, etc. So basically, a contingency plan, uh, in contingency plan needs extensive study and ideation, uh, be effective like any excellent strategy. There are steps to follow to ensure that you are carrying it out correctly. So like there are steps like identify and priorities resources, then what are the key risks, just define what are the key risks, and then write the contingency plan. If at all possible, draft a contingency plan for each risk you found in the previous stage. Start with the risk that poses the greatest threat to the survival of your organization thought. So any question, Sumit, or anything?
No, sir.
Okay, so next one is,
Contingency plan based on these 3 points, sir.
yes, basically identify uh, priorities, resources, what are the key risks, and draft a contingency plan. Okay, just you can write down everything like, as I said, risks, you know, what is called that. You can develop a strategy of each item on your list as time allows. So whatever the strategy, it should consider the steps required to restore business as usual. So,
Okay, sir.
draft a contingency. When you draft the contingency plan for each risk you found in the, previous stages, start with the risk that poses the greatest threat to the survival of your organization. Then identify the priorities, resources, research your company and list crucial resources. As he says, the team, tools, facilities, then key risks, what are the key risks and how you can reduce, and then draft a, that contingency plan.
Okay, right.
Responsibilities, timeline, communication, people, high risk, low risk, and different priorities. You understand? Or
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
okay. So basically, based on three things, and then it comes contingency plan. Share the plan when you are writing the contingency plan. And basically it's he described the how to write the contingency plan and what is involved in the contingency plan and how to use the contingency plan. You understand that? So like
Yes,
he
sir.
now says that share the plan when you are written the contingency plan and it's been approved. The next step is to make sure everyone in the organization has a copy. Okay, so contingency plan, no matter how thorough, is not effective if it hasn't been properly communicated. So must be shared with everyone. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so then revisit the plan. uh, Obviously there is no set formula for creating a backup strategy, so to take into account organizational change it must be reviewed, updated and kept. The contingency plan needs to be revised to account for the addition of a new personal tool and resources. Sorry, any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So contingency plan and risk management. In risk management is a that very important, very very important in the uh, in a project management. Contingency planning is often part of risk management. Any project manager knows that a plan is only an outline. Sometimes the project will extend beyond those lines. The more a manager can prepare for chance in their plan, the more effective it will be. So, but risk management is not the same as contingency planning. Risk management is about identifying, assessing, avoiding, mitigating, transferring, sharing, accepting risk, while a contingency plan is about developing steps to take when an actual issue occurs. However, they do share the aspect of what to do when the risk happens. So, a contingency plan is what to do if an unplanned event occurs. It can be as simple as asking what if and then outline the step of your plan as your answer that questions. So contingency planning is frequently a component of risk management in project management. As I said, that risk management is very important. Strategy is only sketch, a strategy is only sketch. As any project manager is aware, the undertaking may occasionally go above and beyond those limits. So the more a manager can plan for improbability, the more successful the strategy will be. So, however, that risk management and emergency preparation are not the same. Backup plan involves creating actions to take what a problem actually arises. So, whereas risk management focuses on finding. Like again, I will say that evaluation, avoiding, mitigation, transferring, and taking risk.
Mhm.
So assessing major infrastructure project, you can go there and you can check, that. Uh, so next is evaluate own and team members' performance within the project. So this is very important that you regularly evaluate, your own team members, your own performance, and your team members and people who are related to the project. So building a project team is not just about team selection, it is also about the more arduous process of developing and maintaining the team throughout the length of the project. So CMI identifies 10 steps to building on effective team. CMI is a Chartered Management Institute, our key body of the, membership body for the, managers and project managers and different kind of executives. So number one is decide. So decide whatever you really do need to team. Perhaps the project can be managed by one person. For example, define the objectives. Uh, what need to achieve and the skill needed to each time project team and individuals objectives. For example, marginations and McCann's 9 competencies. So plan a team building strategy, uh, such a training, feedback, free flow of information, get the team together, develop team outcome, and bear in mind that your team will take time to develop, Tuckman's forming, storming, norming, performance, and, that morning. So basically, assemble your team, decide on a team goal, and keep in mind it will take time for your team to grow. So
Yes.
next is explore and establish, examine and set the operating guidelines, acceptable behavior, method of conducting business. Okay. Then identify individual strengths. Good team has a mixture of strengths. uh, Recognize each person abilities. Successful team consists of a variety of strengths. Okay. Then see yourself as a team member. uh, you have a team role and individual objectives just like everyone. Then check objectives to see that you are still working towards project success. So verify your goals to ensure that you are still pursuing pursuing project achievement, and then scheduling meeting carefully. While they can be time wasters, they are good for strengthening team ties. Time terminate the squad, congratulate it on its accomplishment, and draw conclusion for the future. So, any question?
No, sir.
Anything comes in your mind? Anything?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. So he was, if you see that in our, the previous lecture, he's talking about, no, just above in one point, he's talking about Bruce Tuckman, team development model. This is a Tuckman here. If you see that, can you see my arrow where he says get the team together? Tuckman's forming, storming, norming, performing, and morning. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
number
Four
four.
number.
Yeah, so basically here is discussed what is meaning of forming. Initially a polite, guarded, tentative, reserved, quiet, eager to please, nervous equipment, and not proposing. Okay. Then storming team members seems critical and rebellion. I mean that I think so. He cut lines. Uh, well, the storming basically is characterized by conflict and tension as individual assert their ideas and opinion. This can be difficult stage for team, but it is necessary for members to express their thoughts and feelings in order to resolve issues and move forward. So the third stage is norming. Norming is when a team begins to establish shared values and goals. Members begins to develop trust and respect for each other and work towards common purpose. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So the final stage is performance. The performance is when a team is fully functioning and achieves its goal effectively. Members work together smoothly and effectively, so they utilize their unique skills and strengths to achieve, success towards projects. Okay. So basically, that this is a Tuckman's one of the project management founder, not founder, but is a very highly specialist person. So Tuckman model is a useful tool for understanding team dynamics and identifying areas where a team may need support or improvement. So, by recognizing and addressing the challenges that arise in each stage, a team can move towards greater productivity and success. Okay. So, any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay. So, can you see my screen and hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you got it about Tuckman model.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next is assembling team members. So there are two main method of assembling team members. The first approach is use specific project staff who are seconded to the project and removed from their existing role. This may be backed up by external consultants who fill in any skills gaps. This approach is likely to lead to an efficient project which is completed quickly. However, there may be a lack of buy-in from line managers and staff who may resent a lack of involvement in the key project decisions. Second approach is to add on the project to existing duties for operational staff. In this way, staff would complete the project alongside their existing duties. This may mean that the project takes longer to complete, but it should benefit from decision makers being closer to the decision point and from improved staff buy-in. So basically, he is discussing two main methods for assembling team members. So first is to use, specialized project employees who are removed from their current duties and scanned into the project, like a quality specialist, finance specialists, chartered accountants, and different kind of specialists. So external experts who fill in any talent gaps might support this. So these strategies are probably going to result in an effective undertaking that is, finished promptly. So the second stage is to add on uh, project to existing responsibilities for practical staff, but this may not receive the same level of support from direct managers and staff who may feel excluded from important project decisions. So employee could finish the job alongside their regular responsibility in this manner. Uh, Also, he says that project might take longer to finish as a result, but it should profit from better staff buy-in and decisions makers being closer to the decision point. So high performance team, even key distinguishing features of high performance teams are outlined in a team building strategy by Mike Woodcock and Dave Francis. Balanced roles, clear objectives, openings and confrontations, support and trust, cooperation and conflict handling, sound procedures, appropriate leadership, regular review, individual development, sound inter-team, relations, good communications. So, that French and Rowan, 1960, identified 5 sources of power, subsequently modified and extended by Hersey and Blanchard in 1971. So, quickly will say that legitimate power, this refers to power that comes from a person positions to state within an organization or society. For example, manager, has legitimate power over their employees because of their position or authority. So next is reward power. This refers to power that comes from, the ability to provide rewards or incentives to other. For example, uh, just hang on for a minute, Sumit. Just give me a second.
Okay, sir, no issue.
Yes, Sumit.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Sorry about that.
Hello.
I just hello. Yeah, sorry. Just was charging, putting a charging. So can
No
you see
issue.
my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where were we? So we were talking about that powers, reward power, and then we were talking coercive power. This refers to power that comes from the ability to punish or penalize others. For example, a manager who has the authority to fire employees has that coercive power. So expert power or information power, where an individual possess specialist or technical knowledge that is indeed or relied upon by another. So basically this refers to that comes from a person expertise knowledge skills. For example, a doctor has expert power over their patients because of their specialized knowledge and training. You understand that? It's in simple,
Yes.
So next one is referent power. Uh, this basically refers, that comes from a personal characteristics such as their charisma, attractiveness, or likability. For example, a popular celebrity has, referent power over their fans because of their likable and attractive personality. Okay, I just give example as well, but it's a simply he says that individual has by virtue and his personal or interpersonal skills.
Yes, sir.
So basically understanding the source of power can help individuals to effectively influence others in a variety of settings, including the workplace, politics, and social situations. By recognizing the different type of powers and how they can be used, individuals can navigate power of dynamics and relationships more effectively. So next is closing a project. The process covers the project manager work to wrap up the project either at its end or at a premature close and allow a controlled close to the project. The objectives of close project are therefore to check the extent to which the objectives or aims set out in the project initiation document have been met, confirm the extent of the fulfillment of the project initiation document and the customer satisfaction with the deliverables, obtain formal acceptance of deliverables, make any recommendations for follow-on actions, capture lessons resulting from the project and complete the lessons learned report, prepare an end project report. So this, that procedure outlines the project manager's, duties to conclude the project in a controlled manner. So whether at the conclusion of the project or earlier, therefore the goals of closing a project are to determine whether the goals or aim outlined in the project initiation document have been achieved. So verify the extent to which the project initiation document has been fulfilled and the customer satisfaction with the deliverables, obtain formal acceptance of the deliverables, provide any recommendations for further actions, and complete the project, completing the lesson learned summary after gathering the project techniques. So make an end project report. Project evaluation and review. Project evaluation and review is that part of monitoring and control where you keep where you step back and see how it's going as a whole. So basically, monitoring and management project assessment and review involves taking step back to assess how the project as a whole is doing, the progress you have been under tracking and managing regularly will be assessed in a conference with the stakeholder to determine whether any additional actions are necessary. So you'll talk about important finding and offer suggestions for upcoming steps. Some of these could be very serious. So it may be their senior figure, what the project abandoned, or the external customer is unhappy with progress, or it may be team issues or product quality issues. So anything, that team or product quality problem could be the cause. So final review and close, revisit and plan. Sorry, final review and close. So finally, you come to the part of the project where it's time to move on, but not until you have had a final evaluation and final report. So basically, when the project has reached its conclusion, it is time to continue on, but only after having received a final assessment and final report. So this final evaluation and reports objectives ought to, that uh, identify successful and unsuccessful outcomes, provide final actuals against forecast, provide an overview of how the project went, issues and problems, identify unexpected and emergent process throughout the project and how they were dealt with. For example, how it had to be altered halfway through as the organization suddenly had a new MD with different ideas, make some recommendation for the future. So this is vital, as what you have learned should be readily available to others in the organization so they can learn from what you did without having to go through the some problems and issues, and so they can adopt best practices. So hopefully your project was a successful. Thank you team and yourself. You will learn lessons to get ready for your next project. So basically, identify effectiveness and unsuccessful outcomes, provide final actual against forecast, and provide a summary of the project progress. So he also, that saying that talk about issues and problems, their causes, how they were handled, and things they worked well, uh, all anticipated or unforeseen process that arose during the project and how they were handled, such as the need to change it midway through because the organization unexpectedly hired a new MD with the different ideas. So make some suggestions for the future. This is important because what you have learned should be accessible to others in the organization so they can implement best practices and learn from your mistakes without having to go through the same difficulties that you did. So
Ye-
that's it. So I hope that you can say your project turned out well. Thank you to both you and your staff. You will acquire new knowledge, prepare for your upcoming project or your next project. So that's it. Here is the quiz for I don't uh, page not found, but you can see that later on you can try. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Uh, I
Sir, but
don't
I
know
have
for
no
some.
access to a
Sorry.
team-based project. I have no access to the working team-based project.
Access to slides, you mean?
Yes, sir, on Moodle.
All right, okay. But you don't get a lecture from us.
Sorry, sir, didn't get you.
You don't get a lecture. You know what lecture I gave it to you here. You don't get any. You don't get any recorded lecture after.
No, sir, I didn't get.
Okay, okay. I'll make sure that you get a lecture anyway. So that's it for today, Sumit. There's a reference as well. Uh, Hopefully we'll see tomorrow and we discuss tomorrow, and I'll make sure that I'll send it to you, my recorded lecture. Okay.
Okay, right.
So any questions so far? Anything else? Any question?
Nothing, sir.
So you're working on your assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's it for today, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for assignment. And that's it. And have a good day today, and see
Okay,
you
sir.
tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Uh,